Part 1. Echoes from Below. Darkness blanketed the Atlantic Ocean as the final lights from the research vessel Orpheus faded amid crashing waves. A lone diver drifted through the icy depths, more than 1,500 meters beneath the surface. In front of him loomed only darkness, and broken white stone slabs protruding from ancient seabed mud. As his flashlight swept across the scene, the curved outline of a massive stone arch emerged. Strange symbols were etched across its surface, ones that didn't belong to any known language. Then, a sound echoed from the deep. Not the rumble of rock, but something more like a whisper. The pressure gauge began fluctuating violently. Thick bubbles rushed upward. Then a shadow slid silently past behind him. Could this be Atlantis? Part 2. The Legend Awakens. Dr. Elena Reyes, a Spanish marine archaeologist, had spent her entire life chasing the myth of Atlantis. Many called her the dreamer of the ancients, a woman chasing shadows. But Elena believed Atlantis wasn't just a myth. It was a distorted memory of real history. In a strange ancient Egyptian papyrus, she had discovered a faded line of text, nearly erased by time. Beyond the Pillars of Hercules, there lies a forgotten city. With a small research team, she set course toward the coordinates marked, nearly 400 kilometers west of the Strait of Gibraltar. The research vessel Orpheus carried deep-sea diving gear, advanced scanning robots, and a crew that didn't exactly believe in Elena's theory. They followed not because they shared her conviction, but because they were eager to prove her wrong. None of them knew that what waited beneath the ocean wasn't just ruins. It was a warning. Part 3. Descent into the Abyss. Orpheus arrived at the target coordinates. Sonar devices immediately detected a massive square-shaped depression on the seabed, over 1,400 meters below, its shape far too structured to be natural. A scanning robot was deployed to record the first images. What emerged was stunning. Fallen pillars, stone blocks arranged in circular formations, like the remains of an ancient Colosseum. Dr. Elena Reyes didn't hesitate. Along with two other team members, Marco and Dr. Singh, she boarded the Triton submersible and began their deep descent. As they passed 1,000 meters, sunlight disappeared. Shadows gave way to strange shapes. Staircases descending into darkness, headless stone giants, collapsed domes. At the seafloor, an eerie green mist flowed like smoke from unseen cracks, blanketing the entire city in a ghostly veil. "The city is real," Elena whispered, breathless. Suddenly, camera 2 began glitching. A faint, human-like figure darted past the submersible's front window, but radar showed nothing. Marco panicked. "We need to go back," he said, voice shaking. But Elena didn't respond. Her eyes were locked on a white quartz arch, its surface engraved with symbols no one could read. One line stood out, glowing faintly. "We are still the living, beneath the tides." The Triton submersible drifted quietly through the deep, its lights sweeping across crumbling structures. Intricately carved arches, submerged corridors, and statues with blank, eyeless faces, all gazing toward something unseen. Suddenly, Elena raised her hand. "Stop! Look there!" Ahead stood a curved gate leading into a vast, hollow space like an underwater grand hall. The walls inside were covered in glowing green-blue reliefs, etched into a stone that shimmered faintly under their lights, creating an illusion that the carvings were moving. Marco activated the recording camera. Then, static hissed through the comms. "Did someone just speak?" he muttered, confused. Dr. Singh frowned. "No, I didn't hear anything." But Elena did. A sound as soft as wind through a crack in ancient rock, yet impossible to place. It came from all directions at once, bypassing the laws of physics. A whisper, in a language none of them knew, low and cracked like a drowning song. "We are still the living, under these tides." Elena's hands trembled. She turned the camera toward the center of the room. There, surrounded by moss and sediment, stood a black stone altar, still intact after thousands of years, and on it rested a mask, forged from an unknown metal, part gold, part moon-like stone, cold and slick with seawater. Marco moved closer to scan it, but the moment his fingers touched the surface, zap! All lights went out. The Triton's entire system plunged into darkness. Only the sound of their own tense breathing and the ocean's distant groaning filled the silence, like a ghostly choir. A few seconds later, the backup lights flickered on. Marco was gone. "Elena!" Singh shouted. Marco's glove lay beside the mask. His suit was still in the sub, but Marco himself had vanished. No bubbles, no noise, as if he had never existed at all. Part 5. The Curse Awakens. Marco's disappearance, without a trace, cast a suffocating tension over the submersible. Singh slammed his hand against the console and yelled, "Marco, do you copy? Open the internal channel, Marco." Only static answered back, laced with warped noises, moaning, garbled cries, or laughter. Elena stared at the mask, still resting on the altar. Under the faint glow of the emergency lights, it seemed to be moving, subtly vibrating, almost like it was breathing. A small, spiral-shaped crack had formed in the center of the mask's forehead. From it, drops of seawater slowly dripped onto the stone floor, spreading like diluted blood. "We have to get out of here now," Singh stammered. This isn't archaeology anymore. This is sorcery." Elena hesitated, then nodded. But as they turned to leave the chamber, the stone gate behind them, the one they entered through, slammed shut without warning. Triton shook violently. All communications with the Orpheus was severed. The pressure gauge spiked erratically. On the temple walls, the glowing carvings began to react. One by one, they lit up with an eerie light, revealing horrifying scenes. Atlantean citizens standing in lines, emotionless, walking into the sea as if part of a sacrifice. The final image, a radiant burst exploding from beneath the earth, swallowing the city whole. Then it appeared again. That same dark shape, eyeless, mouthless, humanoid, drifted past the submersible's window. Not just one this time. 5, 10, then dozens. The entire Triton was now surrounded by figures from the deep. On the surface, aboard the Orpheus, Captain Barclay was monitoring the radar when all signals from Triton were suddenly lost. At the same time, the waters above the dive site began to churn, despite the sky being calm and cloudless. A massive whirlpool started forming. From the radio cabin came broken transmissions. "Dr. Reyes, it looked at me. They're not dead. They're waiting. Don't bring it up. Don't bring that thing up here." Then, complete silence, back in the deep. Elena activated the emergency ascent protocol, but the system was locked. Singh pounded the control buttons. "We're going to die down here." From deep within the temple, a sound rose. Not physical, but telepathic. A voice in every mind. Atlantis was never forgotten. Atlantis is awakening. You have opened the door. Elena's blood ran cold. They hadn't discovered Atlantis. Atlantis had let them find it. And now, it wanted to return. Part 6. The Sealed Gate of Return. Inside the Triton submersible, things no longer looked familiar. The radar spun in endless circles. All the displays, temperature, pressure, oxygen blinked erratically, each one surpassing safe limits. But what truly froze Elena's blood was the mask. It was no longer on the altar. It was now resting on the seat behind her, perfectly placed, as if someone had just left it there. Dr. Singh had lost his composure. He clutched his head, trembling. "I hear them. They're calling my name. They're outside. They remember me." Elena rushed to the control panel. She knew the only way to escape was to seal the gate to Atlantis before it was too late. The energy core. Back at the heart of the temple, Elena found a spiral hallway descending further below. The stones here were worn and slick, but they emitted a faint, breathing glow. At the bottom lay a vast circular chamber, dome-topped, with a massive crystal sphere floating at its center, spinning slowly and radiating an ominous green light. All around were Atlantean statues, towering, faceless, mouthless, yet somehow watching. Inscribed on the sphere in deep red gold was a line of ancient text. "You spoke my name, now I speak yours." Elena stepped forward, her hand trembling as it hovered near the surface of the crystal. The moment she touched it, visions flooded her mind like a tidal wave. A glorious city in the heart of the ocean, gleaming with living metal. Beings with starlight in their eyes, a sacred ritual interrupted, and finally, a great flood swallowing everything in silence. She understood now. Atlantis had sunk itself to seal away a power older and more dangerous than anything humankind had ever known. A terrifying truth. Elena fell to her knees. "We set it free." A voice answered from behind her. "We did not wish to return, but you brought the light of your world into ours. Now you must bear the price." She turned around. Singh was gone. There was no one else. Only a towering figure, draped in robes made of shadow, stood before her, wearing the same mask Marco had touched. Above, on the Orpheus. Aboard the Orpheus, Captain Barclay and the remaining crew desperately tried to steer away from the whirlpool, but the radios were flooded with whispers, repeating over and over, "Return what was taken, return what was taken." Suddenly, a beam of green light shot up from the deep. The ship shuddered violently, and then all navigation signals were lost. The final choice. Elena stared at the crystal. She knew there were only two options: destroy the sphere, collapse the chamber, bury Atlantis once more, and die with it. Preserve it, return with the truth, but bring back whatever had once been locked away. She placed her hand on the crystal again. In her mind appeared the tear-streaked faces of Marco, Singh, and everyone who once believed in her. She screamed, and with all her strength, smashed the crystal. A deep, thunderous boom rolled out like the voice of the ocean itself, and darkness swallowed everything. Part 7. Echoes from the Deep. 1 week later, the Spanish Maritime Authority recovered the Orpheus drifting silently in the mid-Atlantic. Its systems were completely offline, all navigation tools destroyed. There were no survivors. The bodies of Captain Barclay and 2 engineers were found in the engine room, their skin dry and cracked, as if every drop of moisture had been drained. Their eyes were still open, frozen in pure terror. The final audio from the ship's black box recorded a 7-second message, a whispering voice, barely audible, repeating 3 times. She broke the seal. Atlantis sleeps again, but not forever. The sea floor. Silence returns. Deep sea scanners found nothing at the original coordinates. No ruins, no structures, no trace of the massive anomaly. It was as if Atlantis had erased itself. Elena Reyes was never found. There was no sign of the Triton, no more energy pulses, only a patch of ocean far too still and far too quiet. Sometime later, at a private research facility in Spain, a sealed metal case arrived at the desk of the director of the Madrid Archaeological Museum. No sender, no explanation. Inside the case, a broken shard of crystal, still glowing faint green. A short recording of a woman's voice. If anyone finds this, do not dig again. Do not go deeper into the past. There are things that should never awaken. The final night, the call returns. That night, in the dim museum office, security footage captured a lone woman stepping into the room. No one knew who she was. She approached the case, placed her hand on the crystal shard, and it glowed brighter than ever before. Wind swept through the room, ancient drawings fluttered from the walls, lights flickered, then everything went black. The last frame captured by the camera, the woman turned to face the lens. Her eyes glowed the color of the deep ocean. The last whisper. Atlantis is not dead. Atlantis is not buried. Atlantis is only waiting. And next time, it won't rise alone. The sunken city of Atlantis whispers from the deep, a story not just about the past, but a warning for the future. What do you believe? Did Atlantis fall by nature's wrath, or was it sealed away by something darker? Subscribe to Dark Whispers to dive deeper into ancient secrets. The Vanishing Pharaoh, Lost Civilizations Beneath the Sea.